things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
Good morning. 9 o'clock, we have snow showers and 36 degrees. Look for those snow showers to linger today. Then cloudy, windy, cold with a high 37. Clear and cold tonight with a low of 22. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. The international ripple effect from President Trump's tariffs continues with the overseas markets. ABC's Britt Clinette is in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong leading the sell-off with a massive 13.2%. That's the worst drop since 1997. Shares across the board in South Korea, Japan, China, also seeing red. And this morning, many analysts say the risks of a long and intense trade war are rising rapidly.
The Dow dropped more than 1,000 points when it opened this morning. Right now, it's down 881 at 37,433. The Nasdaq down 214. The S&P 500 is down 89. The S&P entering bear territory on the Trump tariff market collapse. Criticism, even from within the president's own party, grows as the country braces for the impact of the tariffs. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
Some Republicans are sounding the alarm. Senator Ted Cruz saying this on his podcast.
If we're in a scenario 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, with massive American tariffs and massive tariffs on American goods in every other country on earth, that is a terrible outcome.
The trade war adding to the outrage from coast to coast. 1,200 rallies taking place in all 50 states, thousands marching in New York, Detroit, Los Angeles, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. to protest the Trump administration.
A federal judge sticking with her demand that the government have a Maryland man return from a notorious prison in El Salvador. U.S. District Court Judge Paula Zinzis has rejected a Justice Department request for a stay on her order to have Kilmar Abrego Garcia return to the U.S. Yesterday's 22-page ruling called the apparent mistaken detention and deportation of Abrego Garcia wholly lawless. A Milwaukee judge responds to recent ICE arrests in the city.
Milwaukee County Chief Judge Carl Ashley released a statement about the 2 ICE arrests that occurred in the Milwaukee County Courthouse and Public Safety Building. The statement criticizes the presence of ICE agents in judicial buildings and emphasizes the confusion surrounding these arrests. Ashley says, in part, quote, courts must remain safe havens for all individuals, free from the threats of immigration enforcement, unquote. The identities of those arrested have not yet been released. Elizabeth Linton in WTMJ News.
Amtrak service through Wisconsin back on track after the discovery of corroded rail cars caused service disruptions last week.
Both the Borealis and Hiawatha lines are back to running on their normal schedules today, though both are operating with a limited number of cars. This after the lines were running at times with bus substitutions earlier this month, following the corrosion detected during periodic inspection of Amtrak's Horizon rail cars. Superliner cars will be implemented on the Hiawatha line in place of the Horizons. Amtrak says customers should book early to guarantee a spot on their train. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
In Waukesha,
Man was gone westbound 94 from Grandview, west 94 from Grandview. There's a smaller gray sedan that's shooting BB guns at other vehicles. Some BBs had hit the reporting party's vehicles, and they're now pointing at another.
3 juveniles in custody accused of shooting BB guns at vehicles on I-94 Saturday night. The highway shut down for about 40 minutes around 6:45 when the suspect's car was pulled over. No injuries or major damage reported. This week is Tornado and Severe Weather Awareness Week in Wisconsin. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Brendan Johnson tells WTMJ preparation is key for severe weather events.
The difference between a watch and a warning. A watch is a time to prepare and plan. The warning is time to act. And on average, Wisconsin experiences about 23 tornadoes per year. A tornado can happen any time of the year, at any time of day, so long as the conditions are right.
Statewide tornado drills Thursday at 1:45 p.m. and 6:45 p.m., barring any potential severe weather that day. Time for news about your money. At the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, the Dow down 994 points, 37,320. The Nasdaq down 287, 15,300. The S&P 500 down 98 at 4,975. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:04.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. I noticed I was missing out on things. I just wasn't hearing great. I knew I had to get it checked out. I had to get it fixed, and I found the right company. It's a company with a lot of compassion, the best technology. It's Vita Hearing Care. Hearing well isn't just about detecting sounds. It's embracing life's meaningful moments with confidence and joy. Vita is a local family-owned company, 2 locations in Mount Pleasant and Waterford. Visit VitaHearingCare.com to learn more. VitaHearingCare.com. They'll take care of you like they've taken care of me. It's Vita.
As a fellow military veteran, I relied on my team to get through very difficult missions. We had each other's back and supported our teammates through thick and thin. If you find yourself struggling to make it another day or know someone who is, reach out. Support is at reachoutwis.org.
Paid for by Advancing a Healthier Wisconsin Endowment with support by the Medical College of Wisconsin, the War Memorial Center, and reachoutwis.org.
Hi, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network. Ridgetop Exteriors, Wisconsin's trusted name in home improvement, does more than just top-quality roofing. They're your go-to for maintenance-free siding and energy-efficient windows, too. Ridgetop has expert credentials with leading manufacturers like Pella, James Hardie, and LP Smart Siding. For over 20 years, they delivered exceptional craftsmanship and service. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Ridgetop Exteriors, where customer service always comes first.
Ridgetop Exteriors. Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors, grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com to learn more.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Florida set to take on Houston in the National Men's Basketball Championship game in San Antonio. Gators making their first appearance in the game since winning back-to-back titles in 2006 and 07. Houston making its first appearance in the title game since 1984. This college basketball tournament update brought to you by Outdoor Living Unlimited. Bucks riding a 4-game winning streak after taking down the Pelicans 111-107 from New Orleans. Milwaukee hosts the Timberwolves tomorrow night. And the Brewers claimed their 4-game series against the Reds after an 8-2 win in the finale at home. They battle the Rockies in the first of 3 from Denver tomorrow night. Take a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. I-41 north about a half mile beyond the ramp from North Avenue. Right shoulder they're blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Another one off right. I-94 west almost a mile beyond the ramp from Highway 100. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Scattered snow showers, mostly cloudy, windy, cold. High 37 today. Clear and cold tonight, low 22. Sunny 39 tomorrow, then a chance of a wintry mix again Wednesday with a high 42. Slight chance of rain Thursday, 44. Then sunny on Friday, high up to 48. Right now, Madison's at 34, 31 in Green Bay, 37 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Sponsored by Wisconsin State Fair. Big groups save big at Wisconsin State Fair. Deals end April 27th. Big groups save big at Wisconsin State Fair. Take advantage of discounted group tickets for parties of 25 or more at wistatefair.com. Hurry, deals end April 27th.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
Hey, good morning, everybody. I hesitate to say good morning because as I look at monitors in the studio. We're seeing significant downturns in the markets one more day. And joining me in studio is, as he often does, Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12 in Milwaukee.
Good morning.
Good morning, Matt. Before we get to some of the great interviews you did on your Upfront program, which I've said before is one of the best political shows in the state of Wisconsin, I'm curious from a local news perspective. You're the political director there. This tariff story, this issue, this topic has to be starting to consume a lot of the oxygen in local TV newsrooms, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because as this continues to develop and play on it, it starts to affect and impact people's lives here across Southeast Wisconsin, across the state, across the country, right? This becomes more than just this big picture conversation about what are tariffs, what could tariffs do, when the tariffs actually start impacting local businesses and consumers, and you look at your 401k, you look at your retirement, you have questions about the stocks, right? So there's so many different facets. You look at farmers across the state. There's so many stories that could be told about short-term and long-term, along with what our congressional delegation is doing or isn't doing as all of this plays out.
Yeah, it's a great segue to your conversation. We got a couple of clips from U.S. Senator Ron Johnson. The first one we're going to play it. I'll play it in a second here. Talks about this issue, and not to give away the lead here, but Ron Johnson, senior senator from Wisconsin, is not necessarily a fan of how this tariff story is playing out, at least from the White House. Here's a little bit of his interview with U.S. Senator Ron Johnson on Upfront.
How long should we play this out in the short term before Congress steps in or the administration needs to change course?
Well, again, I think President Trump is well aware of the fact that there's going to be some pain. I don't know what his pain tolerance is, but they're smart people. He ran to make sure that he tamed inflation. I don't think he's going to let this go so far if it starts impacting the price of goods significantly. So, again, he's surrounded by excellent economic advisors, understand the risks, but they also understand what the benefits are. And again, it's a bold and risky move here.
That's U.S. Senator Ron Johnson up front, Channel 12 in Milwaukee. Look, I'll give him his day. He said that he thinks the president has excellent economic advisors, but he mentioned inflation there, and that is sort of a trigger word because this president, Donald J. Trump, ran on that issue. I'm gonna bring those prices down for people, and we're gonna be richer. I'm paraphrasing. We're gonna be richer and greater than we've ever been before. And I think when you hear a senator like Ron Johnson, you've interviewed him a million times, figuratively speaking. When you see that sort of hiccup in his undying support of the president, as a reporter, I would think that's something that's maybe changed. Did you get that sense that he was maybe thinking, okay, we're going to test this president's mettle here and how tough he is and whether or not he's willing to stick with this when the people he's working for, Ron Johnson, the constituents of his in Wisconsin, farmers specifically, they're feeling that pain.
Yeah, and I think Senator Johnson and I think our delegation is hearing from them, right, as all of this plays out.
I would think so.
And I think the question is, as we watch this now develop over the next couple of days, at least as of now, it seems like President Trump is doubling down, right? And even Senator Johnson hinted at this and talked about this in our interview, is that President Trump has thought this thought for years, for decades, that this is what he wants to do. So now is his opportunity to do it. The question is whether Republicans in Congress are going to go along with it, or is there a point where it becomes too painful, whether it's politically or economically, where they step in?
That's a brilliant point, because why that matters, the president and his agenda need votes in Congress, Senate and House. We've already seen a little splintering on the House side because Speaker Mike Johnson had to shut down the session of Congress in the House because he didn't get the vote he wanted on something called proxy voting, where you can vote, from a remote site. And then you see a senator like very, very conservative Senator Ron Johnson, who's been a strong ally of Donald Trump, saying, hold on a second here. I don't want this to go too far because my constituents, again, are feeling the pain here. It's an interesting time in this conversation on tariffs.
And I think you have a good number of Republican senators in the Senate who have that business background and come at this from a bit of a different perspective than just a pure political perspective. They've seen it and felt it on the other end, right? When they're hearing from business leaders across the state, when they're hearing from farmers, from manufacturers.
Yeah, and that the pain. I'm actually thinking about doing a segment or two on the impact on state farmers. If you're a farmer in the state of Wisconsin and you're feeling some of this pain, You can always reach me at steve.scaffidi@wtmj.com. I'd love to get some real-life, real-time analysis from the fields on what this is doing to your current pricing and eventually the markets when you have to sell your whatever it is you sell, whether that's milk or all of our great dairy products in the state of Wisconsin and beyond. All right, Matt Smith sticking around for the whole hour this morning. Don't forget, all this week, a bonus second hour. And I know today, Dave Spano is going to join us because there's certainly a lot of conversation about the markets and what comes next. Hopefully, Dave will fill us in on all of that as a guy who runs the great company and great partner of WTMJ, Annex Wealth Management. Matt Smith will rejoin. After this, it's the Political Power Hour on 620 WTMJ.
Brewers baseball is the sound of summer in Milwaukee. And now you can catch the Brewers on local TV for select Tuesday night games.
Curio sends it deep to left, and there she
It's
goes.
Brew Crew Tuesdays. On April 15th, the Crew take on the Detroit Tigers at 6:40 p.m.
Half swing, he went. Another strikeout for Freddie Peralta.
This Brew Crew Tuesday is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. See the action on Fox 6 in Milwaukee and check your local listings for where you can watch over the air statewide on April 15th.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Avon. I love talking about Avon because it changed my life and it could change yours. I had snoring issues, tossing and turning, restless nights to sleep. Sound familiar? That doesn't have to be your reality. I did something about it 5 years ago, and I've never looked back. I went to Abbott, 30-minute visit, asked my questions. We added in a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. Everything they said came to full fruition. It worked, and it can work for you. My problem with sinuses, nasal passages, everyone's different, but that's a very common problem. After a short procedure, breathing better than ever, sleeping through the whole night. My wife, Kathy, loves that I don't snore anymore. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com. Schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Don't put off getting a good night's rest because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Who's hungry? Mark your calendar April 19th through the 27th for Lake Geneva Restaurant Week. This culinary adventure showcases dozens of the area's top restaurants, serving up exclusive breakfast, lunch, and dinner menus at unbeatable savings. From casual cafes to elegant fine dining, the choices are endless as we celebrate Lake Geneva's amazing dining scene. Check out participating restaurants, menus, and all the tasty details at visitlakegeneva.com. Lake Geneva, it's always been the place for distinctive dining.
Why do you think these voters stayed home?
I can't explain that. I mean, I give the Democrats credit. They were energized. They're all angry about the fact that President Trump won in November, and I guess that has fired them up. And then they, have renewed anger over Elon Musk as well. Although I think Elon's efforts were very welcome. I think in general they were a net positive. But again, when you don't turn people out and people don't. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. So, again, disappointing result.
It's an interesting argument because we know that there was a lot of people, 500,000 more showed up.
Yeah.
So it's not really there wasn't a turnout. It's just that he's talking about the low propensity voters who voted for Donald Trump in November. They don't typically show up for the other elections, and that is a challenge for Republicans.
And a lot of them didn't. And when you look at these spring elections, which Democrats have now started dominating, which used to be the reverse, right? Republicans used to dominate these off-season elections. And Johnson pointed to the stat that there were some 600,000 Trump voters in November in Wisconsin who didn't show up for the state Supreme Court race, and Republicans they worked hard to get them out. And now the question is, what happens next when you look ahead to the midterms and future elections?
Yeah, so we have the governor's race coming up.
Yeah.
We also have the next two Supreme Court elections are sort of seat holders for conservatives, and Rebecca Bradley is first up, and she's already announced. I think end of last week, she's already in. Yeah. I can tell you I'm going to make this prediction right now on the program that race will then be the most expensive because I think liberals see blood in the water.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if liberals can run up the court, right? I mean, in order for the court to flip in 2028, conservatives have to keep the next two seats. So while the majority isn't up next year or the year after with Annette Ziegler, conservatives have to keep those seats. Otherwise, liberals are going to start to blow away with a 5-2 majority or what have you.
When you think about the governor's race, which will get going, and we still don't know obviously who the candidates are because Evers hasn't said he's going to run, and I sort of put it at 50-50 that he would throw his name back in. There's a lot of Democrats have a pretty wide pool, although there's no clear favorite among that group. A lot of names thrown around, including Mandela Barnes, who got some CNN exposure last week talking about our election on Tuesday night. So maybe he does that. Unfortunately, he didn't win, in his opinion, in the Senate race to Ron Johnson. So when you look at now politics in Wisconsin, from a reporter's perspective, Republicans, you heard from Ron Johnson. I don't know if you had Brian Schimming on the show recently.
We talked to him before, yeah.
Yeah, so what did he say before this election?
Well, I mean, both the Schimmel campaign and Brian Schimming and Republicans knew what they needed to do. They knew the benchmark was high in order of turning out these Trump voters who don't usually vote in other elections, because that's the reality we're in this moment in terms of this massive support among Republicans for President Trump and whether that's going to equate to other candidates. And that's why you saw Schimmel, I think, in these final weeks and final days so heavily embrace the Trump endorsement, so heavily embrace Elon Musk, because they knew they needed these voters to get out to the polls.
When you look at now Republicans and Democrats, we're going to hear from the chair of the DNC after the break. We got a little clip from Ken Martin, who you had an upfront on Channel 12, great program. We are sort of in this no man's land of big elections coming up. We don't have a presidential election, obviously, for almost 4 years. But we do have a midterm election. So all these things are always sort of going to coincide. So we're going to continue to see all the ads. We're going to continue to see a lot of appearances by elected officials, both those who want to be elected officials and current elected officials. It's going to be interesting to see how the dynamics of all of these races shake out over the next couple of years.
And especially if there's any change to the congressional maps between now and 2026.
Which is a fear that Republicans have.
And what the Supreme Court...
Which is what Elon Musk said at his appearance in Green Bay. It's like, this is one of those elections that's going to matter for this.
Which I would anticipate seeing a lawsuit challenging those maps anytime now, since liberals now are going to keep control of the court. So, I mean, just in terms of attention and money and spending, it's going to be gangbusters going into 2026.
Real quick before we take break, your election night reporting and coverage, anything else stand out besides the fact I thought Brad Schimmel did a great job in conceding the race.
Yeah.
Didn't wait around. It was pretty significant margin.
I mean, I think everyone was surprised from people I talked to on all sides of this is how quickly it was called and how decisive of a win it was for the Crawford campaign.
All right, we'll hear what Democrats are up to. You can always weigh in at 855-616-1620. Deciding Unlimited WTMJ Talking Text Line. Just getting warmed up on a Monday. Don't forget, two hours each day this week, 9 to 11. Big changes at WTMJ. All right, commercial break.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is here for you, bringing you the latest headlines with John McCure.
I'm trying to describe how I feel today with the tariffs and the uncertainty and the labeling of countries and the charts.
And diving into the details with Julia Fellow.
We could end up adding insurance to the list of what may cost more in our pocketbooks.
Tune in to Wisconsin's afternoon news, where your day's story unfolds. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. Only here on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Milwaukee Weight Loss. Yes, I've been on the journey for about 2.5 months, maybe 2 months, 3 weeks. Already lost 36 pounds. It's the secret, by the way, to losing up to 1 pound of fat a day. Their doctors developed easy to follow. I'm following it. You can do it. Weight loss program. You lose weight fast, naturally, safely, no drugs, no injections. Ran into a listener last night at a restaurant. He said he was going in this week to talk to Milwaukee Weight Loss. Good luck, Jose. Their program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good. I have a coach, Emily. She's outstanding. All their coaches are great. And she keeps me on track. So even though I'm not in the reduction phase anymore, I'm in the maintenance phase. And even though I went out to dinner 3 nights in a row, I didn't gain any weight. There's a trick to it. And that trick is sort of resetting. And that's what they do really well at Milwaukee Weight Loss. You can schedule a free consultation. You want to lose 20, 30 pounds in a couple months? I did it. You can do it. It's crazy to watch your body lose that weight. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak & Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are injury attorneys living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak & Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Pain can make you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. or it can make you try any and everything. And most times, that'll make you feel like you've been taken for a ride. It's hard to believe that there's a solution to your pain problem that works, is safe, and is actually affordable. But that's why most insurance plans pay for pain treatments from Rejuvenex, because they're FDA approved and they do work. Toradol and hyaluronic acid work together to substantially alleviate your pain. And we've seen patients experience pain relief for greater than 2 years after completing a series of treatments. Is it a one and done? No. But at as low as $65 per joint? It's an affordable alternative to surgery. And it's not an expensive cross your fingers and hope it works experiment. Especially for older pain sufferers, the pain treatment that Rejuvenex offers is worth trying, because the vast majority of patients who do live better lives in a lot less pain. Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
We have to make sure that people know who we are as a Democratic Party, what we're fighting for and why. There are many people who used to vote for Democrats who now actually have left the party because they don't believe that we're standing up and fighting for them. They don't believe that we're going to deliver on the promises we made. And that's why we can't just campaign against Donald Trump. We have to do both.
Ken Martin, DNC chair, you had him on the program up front. So I guess for me, trying to assess what Democrats are thinking here, I do agree with some of his points there, that they're trying to figure out elections that aren't about Donald Trump. Are they still about Donald Trump? Are they not about Donald Trump? They always had good results in Wisconsin. Jill Underly, Department of Public Instruction superintendent, and of course the Supreme Court race won by Judge Susan Crawford. Is he optimistic about these challenges for the Democratic Party?
I mean, he called the results in Wisconsin a shot in the arm for Democrats nationally.
I would agree with that.
I mean, coming off the major losses from November, I think for Democrats, it's what they needed to look ahead, while at the same time being sober in the fact that there are a lot of people in Marquette's new national poll, like 60% of Americans view the current Democratic Party unfavorably, including like 30% of Democrats themselves. Like, those aren't great numbers to win with.
When you look at the state of Wisconsin, obviously Ben Wickler, and you've interviewed him a ton of times. I had him on the last couple of weeks. I had him on one day each week, and he also feels optimistic about what might come next for Democrats, and they have opportunities. Obviously, the governor's race, either defending or putting up a new candidate. That we obviously have the upcoming Supreme Court elections. When you talk to Democratic leaders, not Ken Martin, but other leaders in the state of Wisconsin, from your reporter's perspective, how optimistic are they?
I mean, I think they're cautiously optimistic, right? I mean, I think public facing, we're going to see a lot more optimism, especially coming off the results from last week, because now, as Ken Martin said, it gives them this shot in the arm. I mean, I think across the state, you're going to look at the state Senate and the potential for Democrats really to work hard to try to gain control of the state Senate. You're going to look at the congressional maps, if any of that happens, and then, of course, the governor's race. So I think there's going to be organizing on the ground from the local level all the way up to the top to the governor's race, and they're going to see what they can do. And the question is going to be Trump's influence. What is Trump going to be in 2026? And nobody knows.
I'm glad you said that, because as part of the tariff story, which is what we started talking about at the beginning, that certainly has a corresponding relationship with voter appetites, voter enthusiasm or lack of enthusiasm, because if their bottom lines are being impacted by what we're seeing in the markets. Now, there's been a slight a correction back, still down, but it started a day at like minus 1,300. I think last time I looked, it was like 800. But that's going to fluctuate a lot wildly, and we'll talk to Dave Spano in the 10 o'clock hour about that. Yeah. I just see that there are certainly some connections between the national stories when you're talking about, we could talk about this, immigration efforts, some of the ICE agencies. There's stories breaking, almost every week about that, including here in Wisconsin. Yeah, that's sort of related to how people are feeling, and if people are upset, for whatever reason that is, whether that's the immigration enforcement, whether that's the bottom line, their budget impact, we may see even more excitement for candidates that aren't associated with Donald Trump.
And that's going to really seep into the Republican primary for governor. Are you going to have a Trump-backed candidate come out of that primary? And what does that do in a general election? Or are these candidates going to try to shy away from Trump? That's going to be the fascinating thing, depending on Trump's popularity here in the state, what these Republican candidates do across the state, whether they try to tie themselves to Trump or distance themselves.
Speaking of Elon Musk, have you ever interviewed him?
No.
He came to Green Bay. I'm sure you covered that.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Give me a sense of what that felt like. Obviously, they were giving away $1 million, a couple checks, and it was certainly a rally for Brad Schimmel and Republicans.
But it was fascinating. It was different than a lot of other events that you cover politically, because he turned it into a real town hall Q&A where people lined up in the aisles and then essentially could ask them anything they wanted. It ranged from topics of social media to AI to space to the Supreme Court race. I mean, to his work at Doge. So the topics were all over the place, and he engaged and he answered questions. And that went on for about 2 hours on a Sunday night in Green Bay.
Does he do local interviews? Haven't seen a lot of that.
He hasn't done a lot, and there was a lot of security at this.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so you had all of that infrastructure. But he did a couple appearances on Fox, and he hasn't done a whole lot of media besides being alongside President Trump.
He is Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12 here in Milwaukee. Keep those texts coming. We'll try to get some of those. Some great questions for Matt. 855-616-1661. We have local news with Connie Weber. We'll get that to you shortly. Before we get to any of that, though, here is the latest now from ABC News.
ABC News Special Report. I'm Wayne Cabot. Major market losses, then a major bounce back, now back down. The Dow and NASDAQ recouping their losses, surging into the green, now back deep in the red. Talk about whiplash. The S&P began the day down 20% from its recent high, meaning the Dow trading in bear market territory. If it is a bear market, it's not your average bear market. This one, self-induced, says billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman, Trump supporter, who says the tariffs bring us closer to economic nuclear winter. The White House calls that comment irresponsible. One gauge shows fear is off the charts.
The volatility index, also known as the VIX, has reached its highest level in 8 months. The indicator measures how variable investors expect the markets to be over the next 30 days, which is why some also call it the fear gauge. Analysts see any reading over 30 as a prediction of high volatility. It's now over 60.
This is ABC News.
Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:31. I'm Connie Weber. Wisconsin Dells police still searching for a missing boater. 20-year-old Francesco DeFilippo of Chicago went missing on the Wisconsin River in Wisconsin Dells Thursday evening after his boat flipped over. One person managed to swim to shore. Police recovered the body of 75-year-old Luis DeFilippo on Friday. Search efforts for the 20-year-old limited due to volatile water conditions. Deadly barn fire in Caledonia. Fire officials responded to Nicholson Road near 7 Mile Road around 3 a.m. Sunday. The barn fully engulfed. When crews arrived, they found one person dead inside. Caledonia police investigating the cause of the fire. The medical examiner has not identified the victim. Johnsonville recalling over 22,000 pounds of cheddar bratwursts. They might contain hard plastic. The 19-ounce sealed tray packages contain 5 brats with the label Johnsonville Brats Cheddar Bratwurst, made February 5th. So far, the Food Safety and Inspection Service has received 2 complaints of people finding the hard plastic in the brats. If you have them, throw them away or return them to the store. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow now down 586 points, 37,728. NASDAQ down 20, 15,567. S&P 500 down 39 at 5,034. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now. WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We still have a disabled vehicle. It is off right. I-94 West, almost a mile beyond the ramp from Highway 100. It might take give yourself some extra time due to weather conditions. We have rain and snow in the area. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, those snow showers are going to linger for a little bit, then mostly cloudy, windy, cold today, high 37. Should clear up overnight. It'll be cold, a low 22. Sunny and 39 tomorrow. Chance of rain or even a wintry mix again Wednesday with a high 42. Slight chance of rain on Thursday, mostly cloudy with a high 44. Then the sun comes out again on Friday with a high of 48. Madison at 34, Green Bay 31, Milwaukee 35 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:33.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano talking with Dr. Mike Nolte at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Doc, a lot of people are hesitant to visit a surgeon for spine care.
The good news is that the vast majority of patients that I see and the majority of conditions that I can see can be successfully treated without surgery. And I don't want patients to think that just because you're seeing a spine surgeon means that you're going to be signing up for surgery. We talk about in my clinic kind of a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C.
Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. orthowisconsin.com.
This message is sponsored by WisCaregiver.com. People across Wisconsin are enjoying the rewards, stability, and flexibility of a career in healthcare. Why not you? WisCaregiver.com gets you started. Choose between two great options. Become a CDCP, Certified Direct Care Professional, or a CNA, Certified Nurse Aide. Training is free, plus earn a $500 bonus. It's easy to start your new career. Learn more at WisCaregiver.com.
Celebrate 70 years of thrills at Road America this spring and summer. Experience unforgettable moments on their legendary 4-mile track. From the Spring Vintage Weekend, May 16th through the 18th, to the adrenaline-packed Moto America Superbikes and Vintage Moto Fest, May 30th through June 1st. There's excitement for everyone. Join us for the iconic IndyCar XPEL Grand Prix presented by AMR, June 19th through the 22nd. Get more confidence on the roads with motorcycle and driving schools, or tackle the off-road experience. Visit roadamerica.com for tickets and details. Road America, 70 years of fast family fun.
Who doesn't need a seasonal wardrobe update? But who has the cash to always keep their wardrobe updated? Ladies, that's why you shop St. Vincent de Paul. Our women's clothing is always a highlight of our stores, and thrift store prices keep the costs low. It allows you to experiment and also find a hidden gem. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Thanks for tuning in on this Monday edition. Lots going on. We'll keep you updated on the markets. Obviously, just like last week, after Liberation Day in the state of Wisconsin and the world, we are seeing market challenges across the board.
And it's snowing.
Apparently, my wife Kathy just said it's snowing out.
But don't look outside and don't look at your stocks, right?
Yeah. That would be a different kind of a... What's the weather term we would use for that? Mixed. Not even mixed. Sleet, grapple.
Yeah.
Spring will be
Nothing
here.
good.
It's coming. Hail.
Yeah.
Big chunks of gold hail. Just nailing us. All right. A couple I want to just ask some reporter questions of you because you do such a great job as political director. Matt Smith is our guest, by the way, at Channel 12. How much homework did you have to do on tariffs? Because I had to do a lot of homework.
Yeah, and it's ongoing, right? I mean, in terms of this uncharted territory that we're in on what this is and what a reciprocal tariff is and what tariffs, and I think everyone is kind of learning through all of this as this goes on, especially right now, because, I mean, a lot of what's happening is unprecedented or could be unprecedented in terms of what happens. And the president keeps saying, hold on, it's all going to work out. His economic advisors were on all the Sunday shows.
Watch all of them.
Yeah, relaying the same yesterday morning. So it's a fascinating time, I think, both economically and politically, because I don't think anyone really knows what's going to happen short term or long term.
No, I mean, that uncertainty is something that can drive some panic. Now, as my friend Dave Spano will tell all of us, I mean, these are also opportunities for investors because you can obviously get some bargain rates on some great stocks and other investments. So that's part of the story as well. When you look now at the storylines of Wisconsin, we've now gotten past our election. Our elections on Tuesday. This is certainly driving. What else are we? What are we looking at as big stories now?
Well, listen, I think it's fascinating that as all of this is happening, as all of DOGE and the president's executive orders continue to happen, you have lawmakers traveling across the state holding budget listening sessions as they're working on the state budget. State Fair Park in West Allis on Friday, packed auditorium, 8 hours. They were up in the Fox Valley. They're going to continue next week or in the weeks ahead across the state. And this is an interesting chapter for not only Wisconsin lawmakers, but the governor in terms of like federal money that used to always be there. Is that going to be there? How is that going to impact the budget as you write the budget? The governor wants them to set aside like $500 million for like just in case. What are Republicans thinking? I think this budget conversation is going to really become front and center.
It sounds like Republicans in the state are waiting for a decision by the Wisconsin Supreme Court on the power of the governor's veto pen.
Yeah, Speaker Voss indicated that a couple weeks ago. So is this going to shift to the fall? Are we just going to hit pause and continue spending levels normally, or are we going to try to pass the budget in a normal cycle? And when will the court take this up? I mean, and now perhaps we have a better insight on how the court may or may not rule on that in terms of the liberal majority upholding, but who knows, right? I mean, the court has surprised us at points.
So this sort of moves away from the journalist's perspective, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So as we think about the results from Tuesday, we think about some of these major storylines from the federal level, and that impacts everybody's bottom line, including our household budgets. Do you think that this is sort of maybe a funny question? Do you think that we'll see a softening of the relationship between the governor and the governor's office and the leaders in the legislature?
I mean, there's always a chance, right?
You tell me there's a chance.
As of now, it doesn't appear that way. But Steve, as you and I have talked about before, I mean, you look even at the last year, you look at the last day budget, you look at the Brewers bill, you look at shared revenue. I mean, when big things happen, this current Republican-controlled legislature and governor have found a way to compromise. It may be a little painful getting there, right? And everyone's going to say what they say along the journey. But at the end, and who knows if this is different with Trump in office for this second term, I guess we're going to have to see. But I guess, I mean, there is always a chance.
So you say there's a chance. He is Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12 in Milwaukee, host of the Upfront program, politics, and more. Let's take a break. I'll take your text, 855-616-1620. That's something that I'm going to start doing more of. I may even take some calls at some point this week, maybe next week, as we sort of re-engage you after the election, certainly in the midst of a major market challenge, which changes and challenges all of us in respect to our futures, whether you're retirement age or 30 years from retirement. These are big, big storylines that we are going to continue to follow right here on 620 WTMJ.
How do we keep our prices so low? That's easy. We've removed the middlemen. Yep, most landscape suppliers have a couple of them in there, and that's okay. But each one of those men in the middle means a higher cost for your mulch, decorative stone, flagstone, and boulders. Feel free to check around. For the quality of our products, you won't find better prices. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. You know, most mulch is reclaimed from landfills, but Erickson's mulch is ground from whole trees. Yep, we process the mulch ourselves to keep the prices nice and low, and use only premium colorant so the beautiful look of new mulch lasts. At Erickson's, we never skimp, and that's why first-time shoppers become repeat customers. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. One of our senior loan consultants recently helped their first-time homebuyer client win over 13 other offers. Of course, it was a team effort with their buyer's agent, and it centered around helping our clients understand what little difference there was to their monthly payment to offer over the asking price. And again, what little difference it would make to give the sellers peace of mind that they'd still buy even if the appraisal came in up to $20,000 short. But that's not all. Our consultant also texted and called the listing agent to reinforce how well qualified our buyers were and that they could, in fact, still close even if the appraisal came in low. Your AccuNet consultant will help you understand your options so you can decide how aggressive you want to be. Then we do everything possible to help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
With Amazon Business, smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
When you breathe well, you live better. Find out more at AdventKnows.com.
With over 57 years of experience, family-owned Yutka Fence installs high-quality fencing with residential options, including vinyl, wood, aluminum, chain link, and ornamental fences. Committed to craftsmanship and customer service, Yutka Fence doesn't just build fences, they build relationships based on care, trust, precision, and protecting what matters most. Mention you're a WTMJ fan for 10% off your project. Schedule your free estimate today at yutkafence.com or call 262-859-3226.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Get eyewear for everything you do at Shopco Optical. Schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam, check out new frame styles, and order your annual supply of contact lenses all in one place. Enjoy the time and attention your eyes deserve at Shopco Optical. Receive quality eye care and a personalized vision solution tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. Call Shopco Optical or visit shopco.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
Oh, the questions are coming in for young Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12. You still call yourself young, right?
Sure.
You're a young guy. Father of 3, I think. Yeah.
3 girls.
Kids excited about the warming weather? I'm sure they are because they get to do stuff outside.
We're in this massive fight of you still have to wear a winter coat when it's snowing outside. Yeah. So we can't wait for spring.
That never changes over generations. They always have the same arguments. Parents from when my girls were little and now yours.
Yep.
Lots of interesting questions. I got to ask this sort of a fun one. If you had the opportunity to interview/golf with Donald Trump, would you take him up on it? I think I would.
Yeah, I mean, an interview, absolutely. I guess the premise if I would just go out and golf with him,
no, as an interview opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get to walk around with him for 4 hours.
Yeah. An interview with anyone high profile like that. And I love taking interviews out on the road, doing them, if you're on the campaign trail, out on the campaign trail. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think anytime you can, you can also get people in their element, right? And not necessarily the president, but if you get people in their element, sometimes you get a much better interview if you're, where they are comfortable.
One of the reasons I like long form interviews, especially on this show and whatever happens in the future, I love the fact that you can sort of get through the headlines and then sort of flesh out. I mean, even this. I mean, we're talking about politics here, but I mean, I love the fact that people have questions about a local reporter who does really great work at Channel 12. And yet, they I think personalize our reporters is important.
Yeah,
as a sort of a method to the madness.
Yeah,
because the news changes every damn day.
Yeah,
I love that. All right, more questions. How often do people say no when you ask them to be on up front?
A fair amount.
Really?
So a lot of times. Well, a lot of times it depends
because you
on
have
scheduling.
Everybody on.
Yeah. No, listen. I mean, there are very few. I guess I can't think of any that I have actually been fully rejected. In the moment, there's a lot of no's, right? Just based on schedules and when people want to talk. So sometimes building a show every week is a challenge. But big picture, for the most part, we get a fair amount of people on all sides, which is fantastic.
So somebody asked the question, and they asked me this question too. So when they say no, do you go back to them? I do.
Yes.
I think you have to, right? Because some of it's just the logistic, as you talked about. And you don't know, you caught them on a bad day. They don't have time. Maybe they're just pissed off about something else.
Maybe I just wear them out, and finally they say yes because they're so sick of me. Yeah.
Hopefully not after you interviewed them.
Yeah, right.
What's your goal as a journalist who has another way to sort of craft his work in the Upfront program? When you do a show like that, and no surprise, it's recorded.
Yeah.
When do you what mark do you hit where you say, that was a good show? What happens on that show?
It's funny because everyone makes fun of me because I always walk out of a show saying, "Wow, that was a terrible show." I wish I could have asked. I wish I could have asked better questions. I wish I could have done this differently or followed up on this question. No, I think a great show is when people come on and make news and people are talking about it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday after the Sunday show or online or wherever. I mean, you can get it now wherever and watch it wherever and listen to it wherever. I think that the fact that it can help set the agenda and spark conversations.
I know I was going to ask you about. So you and Jaron hosted the candidate debate.
Yeah.
How hard was that?
Oh, man.
Because you got to know your stuff.
Yeah.
And you got to be in the moment, live TV.
Yeah. They're difficult. I'll put it that way. There was a lot of prep that went into that. And the format we did it in was more of an open-ended format, which makes it a little more challenging. We wanted the candidates to be able to state their positions and have a conversation with each other if they wanted to, and they did. They engaged a little bit. At the same time, you got to keep the train on the tracks, because both of them, I think, as if people watched, saw us, for both of them, interrupt at certain points to move forward, because both candidates have an objective, and some points to keep talking as much as they can to get their point across.
Hour too long, just right?
I think it's just right.
Yeah.
There were a ton of questions we didn't get to. I think an hour commercial free beginning to end is a good amount of time, because it also it keeps it tight. If you went 90 minutes, 2 hours, you could prolong a lot of things that maybe don't need to be. But a lot of the networks do 90-minute debates,
which I think is too long.
It's a long time to sit. It's a long time to sit and watch.
Yeah.
Right? We felt an hour is a good time. You can absorb it, you can engage, and then move on.
Matt Smith joining us for the remainder of this hour. I wanted to say, because I sent you a note, you and Jaron did a great, Jaron Jordan is your colleague, a great job in sort of putting that together, crafting it. I think it did get to the issues that voters wanted to hear. It was, I think, the only real debate they did, right?
The only time those two were together during the election.
So when you talk about local journalism and a station, in this case Channel 12, putting this together for the voters of the state of Wisconsin, I think that's as good as it gets.
Yeah,
because you have provided a public service,
and it is a task. I will tell you that behind the scenes.
You don't want to do it every week.
No, in terms of coordinating and getting the campaigns to agree and the ground rules. And I mean, listen, you had all 7 sitting Supreme Court justices in that hall.
And the audience.
In the audience. The security. I mean, there's our partnership for that night with Marquette Law School was fantastic. I mean, so there's just so much that goes into it behind the scenes. And our ultimate goal was to help voters across the state, and we hope that helped in some capacity.
Yeah, well done, Channel 12, and to you and Jaron. Just before we go to break, nice text from the 414. Matt, you are amazing, all caps, at what you do for Channel 12 as a fellow citizen. I won't say the town you live in. We are proud of you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, very good. All right, some fun stuff. Not that this wasn't fun. With Matt Smith, my guest for the remainder of this hour. 2 hours all this week. Political Power Hours this week. Yeah. All right. More next.
Hey, March Madness is here. Now, technically, I can't say March Madness, but I can say this. Our coverage of the tournament will be fantastic. Hey, it's Greg Matzik. Keep it tuned to WTMJ for all the updates you need on the tournament. Sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. During every sports update, you'll know about every buzzer beater, every upset, the Cinderella stories, and how the state teams are doing throughout the entire tournament. It's the college basketball tournament, not March Madness. Update sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Do you have a written financial plan? Hi, I'm Aaron Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We have recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move allows us to provide more comprehensive wealth management services to help with all aspects of your finances, including your investments, taxes, estate plan, and more. At Creative Planning, we understand life is busy, and sometimes important things like retirement planning can fall to the wayside. So I'm here to remind you to take time to plan. A 1-hour complimentary consultation with our fiduciary advisors will help you get started on the path to your dream retirement. We will review your current financial situation, your goals and needs, and help you plan for life's what-ifs. Don't delay planning for your future any longer. And even if you already have a plan, a second opinion from our advisors can help determine if there are adjustments to make. Kowal Investment Group is now Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com to get started. That's creativeplanning.com.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike during the nation's largest bike sale. That's right, the Wheel and Sprocket Bike Expo sale is back. And so is our trade-in, trade-up program, which means you can trade in your old bike for a gift card to use towards your new bike.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Electric bikes, road bikes, cargo bikes, mountain bikes, kid bikes, hybrid bikes. Over 2,000 brand new and used bikes on sale, along with thousands of accessories. From helmets and lights to car racks and more.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, trade in your old bike for a gift card towards a new bike. Friday noon to 8, Saturday 10 to 8, and Sunday 11 to 5 at the State Fair Park inside the Expo Center. Visit BikeExpoSale.com for details. Admission is free.
Ba, 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 ba.
Life is short. We'll see you at the Bike Expo.
It's Debbie Lazaga, and I'm so excited because I've chosen Kohler Services to transform my old bathtub into a beautiful new Luxstone shower this month. Kohler Services makes it so easy. They came to my home, took measurements, and answered all of my questions. I was able to feel the crushed stone wall material and design my custom shower. I can't wait for my installation. You can request your free quote for a custom Kohler Luxstone shower by visiting KohlerServicesWI.com. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Well, we spent the hour with Matt Smith, political director of Channel 12 in Milwaukee. All right, some fun ones. The NFL draft coming up in 3 weeks or something like that. Do you follow it like I follow it? Like, I really get into it. I went to the draft in Vegas, sat in the inner circle, got to do all that stuff.
Yeah, not that into it.
No?
I mean, I'm into it. I think it's going to be so fun to have up in
Green Bay. I mean,
it's going to be.
I mean, I imagine your station will be covering that and all that.
I mean, it's on our air, so like we're going big.
Yeah.
All week, draft week. I think it's going to be. I mean, obviously the draft itself is super fun, and exciting, and I follow it. I think just the fact and the spectacle of having it in the NFL's smallest market. And I mean, you're up there every Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be bananas in terms of where all these people are going to go.
Yeah, I just found out I'm going to be doing stuff for local ESPN 94.5.
Awesome.
So I mean, which I love, and the fact that it celebrates. As much as, it's become a cliche, it's pretty cool that the smallest city in the NFL can host a draft. And we know, because we're just talking about weather, it could be nuts.
Look outside your window. Yeah.
Now, I'm sure they factor that in, and I know that the construction of this massive
stage
is all being done as we speak.
Yes.
But it is sort of a cool thing that we get to celebrate that.
I mean, I think you're going to see if you think back to the Bucks championship, right? You saw all those massive crowd shots. You saw downtown Milwaukee. You saw Pfizer. It's going to be a similar atmosphere, right? From Lambeau to the Titletown district, Oneida Street, all shut down. I think it's going to be really cool.
If you could pick one thing to go to, would it be the NFL draft just as a spectator, inner circle, sitting there right close to the stage, Masters for one day to walk around, or the final, which is tonight, right?
It's
the
tonight.
March Madness.
Listen,
tonight.
It is tonight.
Yeah.
Masters.
Yeah, me too. I mean, as much as I love
Masters
the draft.
week. Happy Masters week, by the way.
Yeah, which is awesome. I'm gonna be in Vegas. I think I do some gambling on Saturday
That'll
and
be
Sunday.
fun.
Yeah. It's like 90 something.
Out of those three Masters walking around.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Augusta?
I have not.
Yeah, me
No.
neither. I'm going to put that on my list.
That's a good list to go. Yeah.
When you get older, you make lists. Do you make lists?
I make,
yeah.
I guess, yeah. Bucket list things.
Does your wife make you lists?
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
We have a running gag with my
Springtime
wife,
list.
Kathy, because I used to give her grief because she made it. But it helps me stay organized.
Stay on task.
Right. Which she says can be a problem for me. Full disclosure. And here's the other thing. You cannot have young children now without a really, really tight schedule. I mean, that's got to be the thing.
Sports schedules, practice schedules.
It's nuts.
It is insane. My wife has the calendar, and I'm like, sometimes you just got to tell me where to be and when, and I'll show up and deliver to this sport and that sport.
Right?
Yeah.
Drop-offs.
Yes.
all that
Pickups.
stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever take part in this? This was a ritual when my kids were younger. When I think Chrissy had gymnastics, Katie had whatever she had. The sort of the 8 o'clock, 8:30ish Culver visits, where you're getting some snacks for them on the way home.
Oh yeah, like later. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Fourth dinner, some people call, because they didn't get to eat the regular dinner.
Because right, I mean, sometimes your options are do you eat dinner at 4 p.m. or 9 p.m.
I know.
Because between those hours you're running everywhere. So yeah, we do. There is oftentimes a second dinner in our household. I'm starving before we go to bed.
And nothing wrong with Culver's, by the way. All right. Politics and some fun. Matt Smith, always look forward to your visits.
It's a blast.
Good luck on up front in the year ahead and the summer ahead. Lots to talk about. And I'm just getting warmed up because all this week I got 2 hours after the 10 o'clock news. My friend Dave Spano, president of Annex Wealth Management, will join us. And boy, do we have the things to talk about. That's coming up on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics, chronic joint pain. You know what living with chronic joint pain is like? It's like trying to get comfortable on a cactus sofa. Nothing feels good, right? So forget trying to do the things you enjoy like golfing or hiking or tennis. You're just trying to get by. But there is something you can do. The medical pros at QC Kinetics, right here in Milwaukee, are on the case and focus on getting you the relief you need. They've already treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that can help calm the debilitating joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or your back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid. They give you your life back. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. If you're curious if you'd be a candidate, the consultation is totally free, and they do have appointments on Saturdays. So here's the number. Call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Tell us a little bit about innovative signs.
We're located out in Waukesha. Where we are really focused mostly is manufacturing outdoor electrical signs.
You came to Horicon Bank. How do you think other local businesses can benefit?
When I call, Michelle picks up the phone, and when I email, she responds in a timely manner. A few years ago, I talked to my accountant about shopping around looking for a different bank just to get some alternatives, and he said, absolutely not. You're not going to like working for a big bank. They have a lot more regulations. So that's how we got involved with Cornerstone Bank. When Horicon purchased Cornerstone, we came along for the ride, and it's been great.
Hey, Easter's almost here. WTMJ's John Mercure. I highly recommend the Easter Sunday brunch at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. It's one of the truly special family dining events of the year. Do it at a very special place. My favorite place, the Fox and Hounds. The food is world class. Everything you love for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, including prime rib and an entire room of homemade desserts. It's all you care to eat, and kids and grandkids under 3, they eat for free. Sip on a delicious old-fashioned bourbon or over 100 fine wines as you dine in one of the Fox and Hounds' 8 elegant dining rooms, maybe a mimosa. The Fox and Hounds, tucked into the Kettle Moraine Forest, just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. The spring drive is spectacular. So do not cook, do not clean on Easter Sunday. Relax and enjoy your family and grandkids. The Fox and Hounds' friendly staff will serve you. Call and reserve today as tables fill quickly. You'll love the Easter Sunday brunch, the Fox and Hounds.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Your trusted and relevant source for news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 10 o'clock, it's 34 degrees on our way to a high today of 37 with some rain and snow mixing in this morning. Clearing skies tonight and very cold with a low down to 22. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Adam Roberts. We continue to follow the situation on Wall Street today after Asian markets had their worst session since the 2008 recession and U.S. stock prices faltering, then rising and faltering again throughout the morning. Investors continuing to worry about the implications of President Trump's global tariffs. ABC's Jonathan Carl with potential legal pushback.
To a prominent conservative legal figure last night, somebody close to Donald Trump, who told me that he believes there is a very good chance that the Supreme Court would ultimately declare these tariffs unconstitutional.
Right now, checking the current market numbers, the Dow down 200 points at 38,119. Meanwhile, both the S&P 500 and NASDAQ have actually made some gains this morning after previous losses at the opening bell. The NASDAQ now up 126 points, and the S&P 500 is up 13 on the morning. That's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Back here at home, Amtrak service through Wisconsin back on track after the discovery of corroded rail cars caused service disruptions last week. Both the Borealis and Hiawatha lines back to running on their normal schedules, though both are operating with a limited number of cars. Amtrak says customers should book early to guarantee a spot on their trains. This year, airline travelers will have to make sure they have their bona fides in order before boarding, and now you have 1 month to do so.
It's called a Real ID, and the Wisconsin DMV is reminding everyone that if you want to get on a plane, you're going to need to make sure you have the right identification. These cards have the added star on the upper right. Though enforcement doesn't begin until May 7th, the DMV wants everyone to start getting ready to make the switch. You need this type of ID to be able to get into a federal building or a military base. And you've got 1 month from today to get your ducks in a row. tomorrow. To get a good look at what we're talking about here, visit WTMJ.com and see what's accepted and what's not. Debbie Lazaga, WTMJ News.
Days of severe weather in the South and Midwest as heavy rains and tornadoes have destroyed neighborhoods and flooded streets across the country. ABC's Morgan Norwood is in Memphis.
Water rescues across multiple states. First responders in Texarkana pulling people out of their cars. Memphis police responding to hundreds of calls reporting downed trees and flooding.
Severe weather being blamed for at least 20 deaths across the U.S. We'll have your complete WTMJ 5-day forecast coming up in about 4 minutes. And a WTMJ exclusive, a celebration of life for the late Bob Uecker will be held August 24th ahead of the Brewers' home game against the Giants. President of Business Operations Rick Schlesinger telling WTMJ's Wisconsin's Morning News Emmy Award-winning broadcaster Bob Costas will lead the ceremony.
It'll be a very extensive pregame and a lot of celebrities, a lot of special videos that the fans have never seen before from Bob's family's private video library.
The list of additional guests and other information to the ceremony will be released in the coming weeks. Sports, traffic, and weather on the way next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 10:04.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Who's hungry? Mark your calendar April 19th through the 27th for Lake Geneva Restaurant Week. This culinary adventure showcases dozens of the area's top restaurants, serving up exclusive breakfast, lunch, and dinner menus at unbeatable savings. From casual cafes to elegant fine dining, the choices are endless as we celebrate Lake Geneva's amazing dining scene. Check out participating restaurants, menus, and all the tasty details at visitlakegeneva.com. Lake Geneva, it's always been the place for distinctive dining.
Look what I found.
What is it?
It's a list of the traditional and modern anniversary gifts for each year of marriage.
Sarah and I use a different list. But go ahead and tell us about yours.
The traditional gift for your first anniversary is paper, but the modern gift is a clock.
Well, our list says the first anniversary is always diamond jewelry.
What's your list called?
The People's Choice.
The traditional gift for your 6th anniversary is iron, but the modern gift is wood.
What a coincidence. For the 6th anniversary, our list says diamonds again. What do you have for the 10th anniversary, Rick?
Traditional is aluminum, modern is diamond jewelry.
Well, there you go. Our lists agree. What have you got for the 7th anniversary?
Copper and a desk set.
Nope. Diamonds again.
I'm beginning to see the wisdom of the People's Choice list.
It's good to have you on board.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Did you make up that People's Choice list, or is it real?
Well, we're people, aren't we?
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Florida set to take on Houston tonight in the men's NCAA basketball championship game from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. The Gators making their first appearance in the big game since winning back-to-back titles in 06 and 07. Houston, meanwhile, making their first appearance in the title game since 1984. This college basketball tournament update brought to you by Outdoor Living Unlimited. The Bucks riding hot on a 4-game winning streak after taking down the Pelicans 111-107 from New Orleans Sunday without Giannis Dame on the floor. 29 points for Gary Trent Jr., a season high for him. Milwaukee hosts the Timberwolves tomorrow night, currently holding the 5 seed in the East. And the Brewers reclaiming a 4-game series against the Reds with an 8-2 win in the finale at home Sunday on the bat of Jackson Chourio with 2 home runs in that contest. The Brewers have the day off today, then will battle the Rockies with the first of 3 games from Denver tomorrow night. Right here on your home of the Brewers, WTMJ. Checking the roads now, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Heads up on 94 right near Mineral. We're expecting lane closures potentially due to debris that is in the road. Right now I've got a visual on the area. Looks like a couple of vehicles. Got a man out in the left lane looking for some of that debris. No freeway closure associated with this, just that left lane as you approach the high-rise bridge heading north on 94. Looks like the individual's now on the shoulder as well. So be mindful of that. We got a vehicle blocking that left lane as is. So take it slow and move over to the right as you make your way north on 94 towards the high rise. Otherwise, we're looking good this hour with no other major incidents or delays. And your WTMJ 5-day forecast for today, watching for a few scattered snow showers, mainly west of Milwaukee, moving south right now. A high of 37 today. It will be windy once again as well. Clear skies, very cold tonight with a low down to 22. More sun for your Tuesday with a high of 39. Rain snow mix possible Wednesday, a high of 42. Maybe some more rain Thursday and 44. Then a slow warm-up begins on Friday with mostly sunny skies and a high of 48 degrees. Right now in Madison, got a rain-snow mix and 34. Some lingering snow showers in Green Bay, 36. Waukesha, rain and snow and 37. And in Milwaukee, bit of a mix and 34 degrees. I'm Adam Roberts. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 10:08.
There's only so much we can fit in 1 hour, but we are just getting started. So pour another cup of coffee. It's the Political Power After Hour. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Oh, yeah! Second hour. Where you been? Good to be back. Thanks for all the nice comments on the text line. The Signing Unlimited WTMJ Talk and Text line. So we're going to do a couple things this hour. Certainly, we're going to talk about tariffs because that's the big conversation that I'm going to have with my friend Dave Spano in a second here. But in the 10:35 slot, we are going to I'll give you my thoughts on some of this stuff. And let's talk to someone that really knows what he's talking about. I'm not saying that I don't. But Dave Spano, president of Annex Wealth Management, joining us on this Monday. Hi, Dave.
You certainly know what you're talking about, Steve.
Thank you for that affirmation.
Yes, sir.
Now, I can imagine that someone who does what you do for a living and running the great organization that is Annex Wealth Management, great partner of ours here at 620 WTMJ, this period, before we get to the nitty-gritty, this period of time since, what did the president call it, Liberation Day, has to be a pretty exciting, you can define that however you want, moment in your life.
Well, is it exciting? Yeah, I can just tell you that since the mid-1980s, there's times that you mark in your head, right? And I can tell you that it for sure was March 13th of 2020 for the market. It certainly was September 15th, 2008. I mean, there are times that you remember. Of course, 9/11. This will be in there, and why I say that, Steve, is because of market reaction. And so we had a very, violent market reaction to something that it still looks like a negotiation to me, right? So it's a pretty violent reaction based on the information that we really know, number one. And number two, yes, this will go in the book, Steve.
A lot of questions are coming in on the Signing Limited Talk and Text line. I'll try to get some of these because I think they're sort of the same questions I would ask. Do you remember one of these moments for market performance where a presidential action, in this case Liberation Day, and if you have examples of other ones, I'd love to hear about them, had such an immediate impact on what the markets are doing? We saw an almost immediate collapse of confidence in the markets, people deciding not to buy and sell. Have you other examples where a presidential act or action has led to sort of a pullback like this?
I think you have to go, not in modern times. I think you'd have to go back to the Smoot-Hawley times. You'd have to go back probably to the late 1800s. But in modern time, post-World War II, it appears that this is self-inflicted. But you can argue that 2020 was self-inflicted as well. Obviously we didn't know to the depth of what was going to happen with COVID, but shutting down the economy in retrospect, even by those who did it, said it was probably an overreaction. But this is certainly self-inflicted. And so is this historical? Probably to some extent. There's not a playbook. But I would say to all of your listeners that a reaction like this is not unprecedented. If you go back and look, since the turn of 2000, right, there has been 10 such actions like this, 9 or 10 already since 2020. So just in the last 25 years, you've had 6 corrections in that time, and you've had 3 bear markets. And so we are right at the precipice of another bear market. If it closes, we're at, let me look over here, 50.51 on the S&P 500. If it closes in the low 4,900, somewhere around 4,925, that will be in excess of 20% peak to trough, and that is what is normally accepted as a bear market. So we're not that far away, and it's not unprecedented, but it's not fun either.
One of the things that those of us who do what I do have had to study up on is the concept of tariffs. Now, they've been around for a long time, used in a lot of different ways. The president, and you and I did a great webinar for Annex about a month ago now on the subject of tariffs. For those listeners who are sort of hearing that word mentioned over and over and over again, ad nauseum to some degree, what should the takeaway be for those thinking about their investments and their financial planning?
Oh, man, there's so much there. All right, so let's start with tariffs, right? And so the tariff is kind of like a tax, right? It's a tax on incoming goods into our country. Who pays that tax is, up to debate. Are you taxing the country that's importing that, or does that importing country raise prices to cover the tax, right? So that's up to some debate. But you'll recall my comment when we did our presentation, which is he's using an economic tool, a tariff, to achieve non-economic outcomes. And it started with immigration and importing of drugs, and to get them to do, Canada and Mexico in particular, to get them to perform something which is a non-economic outcome. Now, that has translated now to a economic outcome in saying that we want to make sure that we aren't getting ripped off, is the word, on some of this, on these imports. And so there's a lot to say about that, Steve, because you have to say the number that Trump showed last week about what the trade imbalance was not accurate. And so you have to say, how did you get to that? Well, there's trade imbalance, there's non-trade barriers, there's all of this stuff. That's what the number was. But it's certainly not the tariff in a lot of situations that they were charging. So that is from 30,000 feet. And let me just, if I can, Steve, break it into two buckets. You have this universal tariff, which is this 10% that he wants to charge. I keep saying the president wants to charge on all goods, 10%. That's the universal tariff. The other piece is this negotiating piece, and that's where the negotiation is. And if you saw what happened in the market today, we were overnight, as we had a whole group together last night on Sunday night. I'm sure they love that. They might hear it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But we talked about what was going on, and the futures were telling us we were going to be down 5%, which would have been clearly into bear market territory. That's not what happened. And part of what happened was Secretary of Treasury Hassett was on, and he said that maybe, or the question was, would there be a 90-day delay in the tariffs? And he said, well, the president's going to do what the president's going to do. He didn't come out and say no. And so the market rallied, and so we were in positive territory for a little bit. Now, the White House since then has said that's fake news. He is not going to negotiate. So that's the whole tariff conversation. Now, the second part of the question, and if you want to get into it, is what's the financial planning aspect?
Yeah, that was my next. Let's take a break, and then we'll get into that, because a lot of people that listen to this show and other shows are clients and customers of Annex, but they're also potential clients. And at this moment, because I've had many conversations with you, this is a really important time to start to figure out the future, whether that's your financial future, your family's, and what you do next. We'll have that conversation. Dave Spano, Annex Wealth Management. Quick break.
Hey Bucks fans, it's Justin Garcia from the Bucks Radio Network, here to tell you about the launch of the Bucks Central podcast feed. Everything Bucks, on demand, in one spot. From sideline to sideline, hear all the ankle-breaking, rim-rattling, and twine-tingling highlights, exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe to the Bucks Central podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. All the Bucks content your heart desires in one spot. Check out the Bucks Central podcast feed.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi for Badger Fence. 5 years ago, Badger Fence put a beautiful cedar fence, and it still looks amazing. Just looked at it this weekend because it was gorgeous out on Sunday. The company I trusted, Badger Fence, they've been installing high-quality, durable fences, and mine's cedar. It looks gorgeous like the day it was installed, since 1945. Proud member of the Better Business Bureau, A-plus rating, good as it gets. as well as a member of the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. Privacy, security, wide choice of fence styles. That's one of the reasons we chose Badger. That's a great reason to sort of think about what you want in your fence. Badger Fence is the right company for you. They're licensed, bonded, insured, using the best materials in the industry. And they have 76 years of experience, so they know what they're doing. So if you want wood like we chose, ornamental, chain link, PVC, that's everything you need in a fence from one company, Badger Fence, at, by the way, the most competitive prices. We love our new wood fence. Everybody talks about when they come over. My wife, Kathy, and I, we talked to a lot of fence companies. We chose Badger Fence when we were shopping around. We found the right match with Badger. To set up an appointment to talk with Badger Fence about your project, go to badgerfence.com. Tell them Steve from WTMJ sent you.
You've got several kids, or your job and other commitments keep you buried with work.
Meanwhile, the clutter is piling up at home. How can people stay tidy when their lives are in chaos?
We have a solution to help you chase away the chaos.
Yes. He's Dan, and I'm Katie. Together, we're Inspired Closets.
Our team at Inspired Closets can more than double your closet storage space via gorgeous closet renovations.
And our true lifetime warranty makes it a no-brainer. Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
Oh, yes. Talking money. Financial planning. And we're talking the impact of tariffs with Dave Spano. Manage Wealth Management. If you have some quick questions, try to get them in the 855-616-1620. We'll try to squeeze them in. All right, so before we get to sort of what people should be thinking about, what do you think, Dave Spano, is necessary to sort of stem the tide here and sort of flip the level of uncertainty and panic that seems to have sort of invaded the markets?
Yeah, there's probably three things that could probably slow this down, slow the roll a little bit, right? Number one is a little tweet on Truth Social that says, just kidding, right? But no, in reality, he says something like, okay, I understand that there's a lot to discuss here. Maybe I give it 30, 60, 90 days. That would be number one. Number two would be Congress says we are going to stand up here a little bit and say, all right, these are economic outcomes that the holder of the purse, which is the House, has something to say about that, right? Number three is Congress comes back, and I know they're working on it, and says we have a tax plan that we're going to put forward that is going to offset all of these things. So there's just three really easy ways right now that people could take a breath. One, Trump could say either we're going to slow the roll a little bit. And by the way, how that could happen is, and another rumor that was going this weekend, is that the EU is going to come to the table. That, they said they're talking to 50 countries. Vietnam said we're going to go to 0%. And all of a sudden, all these deals start rolling in and say, okay, we're going to equate our tariff amounts. That was the initial idea. Somebody can't charge us 40 if we're charging 2. So Europe comes and says, okay, whatever it is. If you're at 2 and we're at 15, let's both get to a real number. That is another piece. So there's 4 ways out of this right now that I think can happen. 1, Trump gives us some time. 2, these other countries come together. 3, Congress comes together with a tax plan, which is, by the way, happening. By the way, there's probably a 5th. The Federal Reserve steps up and says we're going to lower interest rates.
That was another quick question. The Federal Reserve, their role here, because obviously one thing that will help consumers and household budgets is lower interest rates.
Yep, for sure.
And if that happens, we might have a different conversation.
Yeah, so the Fed's going to lower rates. It's just, when do they do that? Do they wait to the next meeting? Or do they say, for example, we're going to have an intermeeting rate cut? And that's a possibility, right? The Fed funds future, which is kind of this betting market of what the Fed is going to do, is suggesting between 4 and 5 cuts in 2025. Well, the market is going to love that if interest rates come back down. Main Street is going to love that if interest rates comes back down. People who want to go get a mortgage and it's going to be down 100 or 150 basis points are going to appreciate that. So there are some positive things that certainly could come out of that. I know that people look at this through the lens of their political leanings, but we don't. We say, let's push this aside. Let's push the political leanings aside and say, what's in the middle? And what we think could happen, and it could be a while, but what could happen is you're certainly going to get some onshoring. $5 trillion already announced. Does that come to fruition is another example. But onshoring could happen. Better trade deals could happen. Oil was under $60 before the market this morning. That means lower gas prices, lower taxes, lower interest rates. There's a lot of positives, and I'm not trying to spin this thing. I'm just saying there could be positives, and here's the bottom line for financial planning. If you invest today and say, I don't know when it is, nobody knows when it is, but if the market returns to where it was, so it's at around 5,000, a little over 5,000, it was over 6,000, that's a 20-plus return on S&P 500 returns just to get back to where it was. Could be 6 months, it could be 6 years. I don't know that. But that is what the return would be if it gets back to at least where it was.
All right, so for all the individual investors, those who don't have financial planners, and those who do, what should they be thinking about first and foremost this week?
Well, the first thing is if you had a financial plan, you should have done some risk assessment and make sure that you were aligned, to understand that we stress test every portfolio and say, Mrs. Kuskavevitz, if your portfolio goes down 20%, are you still going to be able to sleep? And we put the dollar amount and just pick a number. You have $1 million in your portfolio and it's now worth $800. Are you going to jump out of the first floor window, or are you going to be able to understand that, right? So that's number one, risk assessment. Number two is what's your portfolio breakdown? If it's a 60-40 split, 60% equities and 40%, just to be very basic, you have a bunch of money in a piggy bank at 40% to move over into equities if you want to adjust your risk tolerance, right? Number two. Number three, if you haven't done those two steps, obviously, annexwealth.com, but if you haven't done those two steps, what you can do at this point is say, should I start to step into the market? We don't know where the bottom is, but can you start, can we approximate a bottom? It looks like we're starting to exhaust some of the selling. Maybe put in and start to dollar cost average back into equities at this point. We don't know how long that return is going to be. But most importantly, go through the process. If you haven't done it, you need to do it. If you're freaking out right now, that means because you didn't go through the process. Two things that I suggest, and not to turn this into a commercial, but go ahead and we're going to have navigating the markets in 3 different places: Mequon, Madison, and our office at the Pfister Hotel. Upcoming. Just go to annexwealth.com/events, or number 2, start the process. Even if it's not with us, start with the process and make sure you understand what your financial plan is, what you own, how much you're paying for it, why do you own it, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I will say this, having been a client of Annex for a while now, their expertise, I had fun doing it myself, but their expertise, the individuals who work for them, I've read the liner before, CFPs and CPAs and all the attorneys and PhDs, and I've worked with most of these people on your webinars out there at your offices.
Surrounded people smarter than me, Steve.
Absolutely. So that's why I wanted to get you on. Dave Spano, we're going to make this a weekly thing, just
Love
like
it.
Jeff did before, because I appreciate your wisdom, especially on a week or a day like this.
Appreciate you, my friend.
All right, Dave Spano, president of Annex Wealth Management. He said it. I don't know. I could say it again. Just click the Get Started button. Lots more to get to as we wind it up to 11 o'clock. You're listening, of course, to 620 WTMJ.
Hey, March Madness is here. Now, technically, I can't say March Madness, but I can say this. Our coverage of the tournament will be fantastic. Hey, it's Greg Matzik. Keep it tuned to WTMJ for all the updates you need on the tournament. Sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. During every sports update, you'll know about every buzzer beater, every upset, the Cinderella stories, and how the state teams are doing throughout the entire tournament. It's the college basketball tournament, not March Madness. Update sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Hey, Steve Scaffidi for Heiser Automotive. Why do I love Heiser? Because I get to drive their great vehicles. I'm also a customer. I've bought a couple new vehicles from them. We just bought a Chevy Trailblazer for my wife. Just had some work done on it recently. But I also get to drive their great vehicles. And right now, really enjoying, they're going to have to pry this thing away. That's why I've had it so long. They have to pry this Chevy Silverado out of my live hands, not dead hands. But it is a truck worth driving. If you've never driven a truck before, treat yourself. Go to one of their great locations and say, I want to test drive a Chevy Silverado. Mine is the 2023 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT. This thing's amazing. Smooth ride. All the comfort, all the style, all the technology. It's just unbelievable. And I've got a great color, glacier blue metallic. Stands out. I can find this thing in a parking lot, cloudy, sunny, doesn't matter. I can always see that truck. It looks amazing when it's all clean, by the way, which I just did. And you can find out about all their vehicles at Heiser.com, right? New, pre-owned, all of that. You can schedule your service appointments, all that. That's why they can say every day. That's why I love saying it. Today's your day.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. Premium injection foam, filling your walls and saving you money from day one. Jeff and his team at USA Insulation do a full energy audit on your home or business to see where you're losing money. Then they help you score rebates and discounts that can cut the cost of your project in half. Then they get you 0% interest on financing for up to 72 months. It's a home improvement project that actually saves you money. Tell Jeff Vinny sent you to usainsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Oh, thanks to Dave Spano, and top guy at Annex Wealth Management. I love talking to Dave, and that's going to be something I'm going to continue to do. We've had a nice relationship over the years, and he just breaks it down in a great way. Now, I'm going to spend some time in the next half hour, the second hour, half hour, talking about the president, and I'm going to play a clip from the president on Air Force One. And, look, I'm a critic of Donald Trump, but I will say this. If he gets the agreements he's hoping for when it comes to reciprocal or reciprocity on tariffs and other countries back off, although he's talking a different game today, he's talking about slapping another 50% on China, he could win this day still. Now, a lot of us who are investors are going to take some hits on this, so there's some uncertainty there. We're going to spend the next half hour talking about that. Your texts are welcome, 855-616-1620. Sometime this week I'll start taking some calls as well. I'd love to hear from those Romes who I've missed over the time, calling from the airport, giving people rides. Where you been, Rome? We have certainly local news to cover with Connie Weber. So 855-616-1620, starting a limited talk and text line. Don't forget the podcast available. Usually today's show will be available in the afternoon. Producer Jazz always on top of that. So if you miss any or all of the show, here's now the latest from ABC News.
ABC News special report. I'm Wayne Cabot. All the indexes back down deep in the red now after an early anomaly. In the span of a half an hour this morning, the Dow gained a head-scratching 2,500 points, then lost it all. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis says President Trump is standing by his tariffs, calling any dip in the markets or the economy medicine.
The direction of travel here is pretty clear. Unless this trade war comes to an end pretty soon, we're going to see a lot more red on our screen than green, and we're going to be down more than 20%. We'll be down 25, 30% and in a recession.
Today, Trump threatened more tariffs on China if Beijing doesn't withdraw retaliatory measures. Domestic oil, West Texas intermediary, plunged below $60 a barrel. Drivers may see savings, but economists see possible signs of a recession. If the S&P continues its losses at the bell, it will have entered a bear market, 20% off its recent high. This is ABC News.
Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 1031. I'm Connie Weber. A reaction to recent ICE arrests in Milwaukee. In a statement, Milwaukee County Chief Judge Carl Ashley called them potential interference with the justice system and causing confusion over legal protections. One arrest happened at the Milwaukee County Courthouse March 20th, another at the Public Safety Building on Friday. Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office says they had no part in either. 3 juveniles in custody for shooting BB guns at vehicles on I-94 Saturday night. Highway shut down for about 40 minutes around 6:40 6:45 p.m. when the car was pulled over. No injuries reported. Changes coming to the current Milwaukee Public Museum. The third floor Asia Gallery will be temporarily closed starting today as they pack up the exhibit for the museum's upcoming move. Staff using the gallery as a staging area as they de-install exhibits throughout the building. During these closures, visitors can take virtual tours of the Asia Gallery and the third floor mezzanine. 6 other galleries, including Africa, the Arctic, Crossroads of Civilization, and Middle and South America, will remain open. New museum scheduled to open in 2027. Time for news now about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow down 940 points, 37,374. The Nasdaq down 248, 15,339. S&P 500 down 94 at 4,979. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We do still have a disabled vehicle. This is going to be I-94 West, almost a mile beyond the ramp from Highway 100. Again, it is off right, so it is blocking the right shoulder. Also, a new incident on the exit to Greenfield Avenue from I-41 North. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Snow showers today. Mostly cloudy, windy, and cold this afternoon. High 34. Should clear up overnight. It'll be cold with a low 22. Sunny tomorrow. High 39. A chance of rain, even a wintry mix again on Wednesday with a high 42. Slight chance of rain on Thursday. High 44. Sunshine on Friday with a high of 48. Madison 34. 31 in Green Bay. 34 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time 10:34.
Tell us a little bit about Innovative Signs.
We're located out in Waukesha. Where we are really focused mostly is manufacturing outdoor electrical signs.
You came to Horicon Bank. How do you think other local businesses can benefit?
When I call, Michelle picks up the phone, and when I email, she responds in a timely manner. A few years ago, I talked to my accountant about shopping around looking for a different bank just to get some alternatives, and he said, absolutely not. You're not going to like working for a big bank. They have a lot more regulations. So that's how we got involved with Cornerstone Bank. When Horicon purchased Cornerstone, we came along for the ride, and it's been great.
There's a winning magic powering up at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. This April, prepare for an exciting quest to $300,000 in the Enchanted Spin Slot Tournament. Just conjure your rewards card and play slots to earn drawing entries. Each Thursday, 60 winners will compete for thousands in cash and prizes. Let your journey begin with Enchanted Spins, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Are you worried about running out of money in retirement? Wondering about how to pay less taxes? Join me, Tony Drake, for the Retirement Ready Show, live every Saturday at noon and Sunday at 7 a.m. on WTMJ 620 or 103.3 FM. We'll talk about smart strategies to help you retire with confidence. Don't miss it.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I'm the football guy, definitely not the outdoor home projects guy. So when it comes to things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
Welcome. Second hour, all this week, and maybe beyond. We'll have to get to that when we get to it. The second hour of Political Power Hour this week, and we had a great guest to lead it off. Thanks to the texter who said, thanks for having Dave Spano on. He knows of what he speaks, decades of experience, skilled, very highly skilled surrounding cast of characters at Annex, and they're not characters, they're just smart people. And that ability to sort of dissect what's happening, which is what I want to do this half hour. And I welcome your text, 855-616-1620, citing a limited talk and text line, WTMJ talk and text line. And as I said earlier, I may mix in a few phone calls as we sort of expand our horizons this week. But I want to play something for you, and I want to respond to it. I want to get your reaction to it. So everyone who listens to the show knows I'm not a Donald Trump voter or supporter. But I also understand he's the President of the United States. Presidents have rights. Presidents have power, certainly. And we've seen that probably stretched to the limit with the numerous executive orders and actions of this President, Donald J. Trump. And now we're sort of living in this reality of ever-increasing tariff battles across the world, threatening potentially a recession, perhaps inflation. And I have said before on this program that I think the president on economic issues is not a Rhodes Scholar. What do I mean by that? This is not his level of expertise. And I don't mean that to insult the president. He's the president. He gets that respect. But I think on some things he's out of his league. And on the question of tariffs, which are a tax, that's my belief, and you can disagree. His expectation is he was going to do this and other countries would correspondingly say, you know what, we're going to roll back our tariffs that we have had in place. He's not wrong on that. And many of these things are significant. When you're talking about China or Canada, he's not wrong on that. So that's an acknowledgement that the president is right about that piece of this. There's other things he's not right on. Let's hear it from the President of the United States.
Is there a Trump put, though? Is there pain in the market at some point you're unwilling to tolerate this idea of a Trump put? Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I mean, I think I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. And we have such a horrible, we have been treated so badly by other countries because we had stupid leadership that allowed this to happen. They took our businesses, they took our money, they took our jobs, they moved it to Mexico, they moved it to Canada, they moved a lot of it to China, and it's not sustainable. We're not going to do it. Now we have hundreds of billions of dollars is pouring into our country. On a monthly basis, it's pouring. It's already started because they put tariffs on. And eventually it's going to straighten out, and our country will be solid and strong again.
That's his wish and his hope and his expectation, which is fine. You know, presidents often have aspirational messaging, and I think that that's something that we certainly have to acknowledge. And again, I'll go back to what I said before I played that short clip. His idea seems to be that we are going to correct decades-long inequities, unfairness, in the terms of what other countries do to us. And that's real. It's not imagined. He's talking from a fact-based perspective. But where I think it breaks down is sort of how you and how he started that clip. He called the question stupid. I can argue an hour about why the president shouldn't call reporters' questions stupid. But that's this president, that's sort of the way he does business. But beyond that, the reporter's question is one that all of us should be asking. Is there a moment here where something needs to happen? Because we can't absorb, those of us who are at or near retirement, or anyone really, double-digit losses in the value of our investments and savings. It's not a good scenario for the health, stability of our country. And when I hear the president respond, it just drives me nuts because it's such a low rent answer. And that's what the one of the main things this idea that we have a president who can just speak like he's at the corner of a bar on the south side of Milwaukee, just spouting, economics. And trust me, there's a lot of people that do that in this state. We've sort of gotten used to that. Everybody's an expert on vaccines and the economy and healthcare in general and trade and tariffs. And the sad, harsh reality is we are not. Where is this going? After the break, I'm going to talk about the fact that this issue is part of a bigger issue when it comes to DOGE and Department of Governmental Efficiency. Noble aspirations, but not carried out in a manner that makes sense. Anybody who handles money, runs a company or a budget, understands there's right ways to do things and there's wrong ways. And this reeks of the wrong way. Text line wide open, 855-616-1620. Exciting Unlimited, WTMJ Talking text line. Enjoying the hell out of the second hour. Get used to it. More after this.
I basically had a perpetual sinus infection where it would clear, get the meds.
And it didn't do anything.
Medications may not really help. They can be a temporary fix instead of trying to find the real root of a breathing triangle problem. And that's Mom chiming in. And what you're about to hear next was a first for Advent.
So my symptoms were the same. We actually had the same procedure on the same day. It was just a matter of, let's just do this. Why put it off?
An in-office procedure at Advent to get you breathing well is very convenient. And you shouldn't put it off, because breathing well changes lives.
I do remember the first deep breath.
Oh, I remember that.
The feeling of whoa, this is great.
Since then, breathing has gotten easier. Sleeping has gotten easier.
I came in over 10 years ago and I couldn't breathe ever, and now I can breathe. That's the best way I can put it.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Badger Fence. If you listen to the show over the years, you know I've talked about my beautiful new cedar fence installed at my home. Well, the company I trusted with that job is Badger Fence. They've been installing high-quality, durable fences in the area since, get this, 1945. Proud member of the Better Business Bureau with an A-plus rating. Doesn't get any better than that. As well as a member of the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. If privacy, security, and a wide choice of fence styles are top of mind when you choose a fence for your property, then Badger Fence is the right company. They're licensed, bonded, and insured, using the best materials in the industry. Badger Fence knows that premium fence materials, design options, and affordability all play an important role in your overall satisfaction. So whether you want wood, which is what we chose, ornamental, chain link, even PVC, they can help you choose the right materials for your fencing project. We love our fence, and when my wife Kathy and I were shopping around for fence companies, we found the right match with Badger Fence. To set up an appointment to talk with Badger Fence about your project, go to badgerfence.com. Badgerfence.com. Tell them Scaffidi from WTMJ sent you.
The Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center is here in New Berlin, and it's ready for you and your team. From little leaguers to hardcore players and trainers, this is the place you'll want to be.
You can't beat Burghardt.
Filet mignon isn't as cheap as chopped steak, and you can't buy a yacht for the same price as a dinghy. But while they last, you can buy high-end Beauty Rest Black and Sealy Posturepedic mattresses for nowhere near high-end prices. Hassellus Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models. These are the best of the best, and now you can get them for way less. Like a Beauty Rest Black LX Hybrid was $3,599, but now it's just $971. Or a Sealy Posturepedic Golden Acres Pillow Top was $1,093, but the floor model is just $546. Visit any employee-free Hassellus showroom and test your favorite floor model without salespeople breathing down your neck. You won't find these mattresses priced this low anywhere else. It's like buying a Lamborghini for $10 grand just because it sat on the showroom floor. Only a few floor models are available at each Hassellus mattress location, and when they're gone for good. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
Lots of commentary on the WTMJ and Saturday Unlimited Talk and Text line today on the expanded edition of Political Power Hours. Most of them are on this theme. Don't trust them, don't like them, which, again, I guess if you want to have a conversation about that, we can have a conversation about that at another time, but at another time. I think what all of us are wondering today is, one, how will the market continue to respond? Will this stuff get worse? Will it improve? Will the president actually achieve some move to equivalence when it comes to tariff inequities? I hope so. But this is where it gets interesting, because we get a lot of noise from Elon Musk. Really, during the election, we got too much noise and didn't work out so well for one Musk. But we're told that the Department of Governmental Efficiency, DOGE, is cutting the waste and the fraud out of government. Now, their evidence has been spotty at best. And I question some of it. The evidence suggests, and we certainly see reporting on this, which is good journalism from the reporters that are covering this story, is that in many of these agencies, people were cut who shouldn't have been rehired, or bottom line, if you're someone who benefits from the services of an agency, whether that's farmers or some of the agencies, social agencies in this country, you've suffered serious cutbacks, or in some cases, absolutely just shutting you down. That doesn't suggest a process that's well thought out, well conceived, which is surprising because everybody tells me how smart Elon Musk is. And Elon Musk may be smart when it comes to space. I would argue that Tesla's not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but people disagree, and I'll give you that, although his company's fortunes have suffered tremendously. But when I see Elon Musk pull back from tariffs, as he did yesterday, commenting about the European and U.S. relationship on said tariffs, it does suggest that there's a relationship problem, and that Elon Musk, whether it's timed out, whether it's just going to happen, the breakup is going to happen at some point. And I think what you should look at from a sort of consumer perspective, if you consider yourself a consumer in this country, which all of us are, how does that end? Famous movie line, everything ends because otherwise it wouldn't end, right? Everything ends badly. And I think that's right. And I think you have to look at this stuff from that prism. We can all be cheerleading for efficiency and saving money. I'm a small government guy. That's why I was on the Ron Johnson train, the Paul Ryan train a decade or more ago when they were talking about our deficits and the fact that we spend too much money. And let me be clear on this, because this is something that's really on my mind. I would never sit here and say we have a very efficient federal government. We don't. We waste money. We're paying for too many things that we shouldn't be paying for. We do things that we have no business being involved in at the federal level. And I understand if you get money or you benefit, you may disagree. Understood. But our federal government is bloated. It is fat. But done correctly, Doge or whatever version of that comes after Elon Musk could have achieved really significant things if they would have done it the right way, which is to look carefully at each organization. Send your tech bros in there. Look, why are we spending this money? This makes no sense. Explain it to the public. And the public would have accepted that. Instead, we get people being fired randomly, willy-nilly, who are then hired back because you made a mistake. Mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. That's not efficient. It's actually wasteful. Texter makes the point about lean manufacturing, right? That's a big, big concept that's been, was it Six Sigma? Is that the term? Companies have utilized that for a long time. We did it at some of the companies I worked at. And Doge is not that, Texter says. It's a great text. I love this line. They measured with chalk and cut with an axe. Yeah, which is my point. It's messy. It's done in a stupid fashion. Makes no frickin' sense. I self-edited that. Hope you appreciate that. When we look at these things, whether it's tariffs, whether it's Doge, whatever it's immigration, border policy, you name it, does what the government does on a daily basis make sense? Is it efficient? Is it the right spend for what we're trying to accomplish? And in the extreme sense, are we paying for things that we should never be involved in? Should those be states' decisions or individuals' decisions? That's a proper assessment of being efficient and governmental efficiency. Will that happen? I am not confident with the Elon Musk example, and I'm not fully confident in the examples that Donald Trump has put forward in the second tenure. So far, not good. So far, risky. And so far, to all those folks, like many Texans, who are talking about the value of their 401ks and their investments, the public's patient, but not that patient. And we may have seen a little glimmer of that impatience in the last Tuesday's election, where people had just about enough of Elon Musk and, frankly, had enough of the Trump administration, if you read the election that way, and I do. And I would remind people that say, you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to politics. If you listen to someone who only espouses party talking points or one party, you are wasting your time. Trust me on that. Quick break.
Hi, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network. Ridgetop Exteriors, Wisconsin's trusted name in home improvement, does more than just top-quality roofing. They're your go-to for maintenance-free siding and energy-efficient windows, too. Ridgetop has expert credentials with leading manufacturers like Pella, James Hardie, and LP Smart Siding. For over 20 years, they delivered exceptional craftsmanship and service. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Ridgetop Exteriors, where customer service always comes first.
Ridgetop Exteriors.
Oh boy, it's getting so expensive to dine out, but not at the Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mind Chef is family-owned, understands inflation hurts. Every Monday when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza absolutely free. Any size, any quantity. You buy one, get one free. Buy two, get two free. Buy 10 pizzas, get 10 free pizzas. Business owners, managers, bring in pizza for your hardworking employees and your key clients. They're going to love it because it's delicious pizza and your second pizza's free, saving your company a ton of money. Bring your family in today for free pizza. Your kids will love that world-class game room. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and near EAA and Oshkosh, just off the interstate. Lots of seating, lots of close parking. No need to cook. Don't think about cleaning today. Mondays can be tough enough. Buy one pizza, get one free at the Mine Shaft. Plenty to take home for tomorrow. Desserts, and I love their desserts, are also buy one, get one free. Just walk in today for your free Monday pizza. MineshaftRestaurant.com.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food Store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 48-ounce selected varieties Stone Ridge ice cream, 2 for $7. 18 to 24.6-ounce selected varieties Vandecamp's fish, $4.49. 4.5 to 5.3-ounce selected varieties Dan and Greek yogurt, 5 for $5. 9.5 to 10.75-ounce selected varieties Hostess mini donuts, 2 for $4.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers. Safe.
Okay. Ooh. Pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
Football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets to the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois, age 21 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I did it my
Oh, especially today I did. All right. Happy Monday, everybody. I'll say this. I'm going to close out with a little clip that we played last week, but some people missed it, so I'm going to bring it back. But look, whether you're a fan of Donald Trump or not, he's the President of the United States, and I applauded him for trying on some of these issues. And I will credit him right now on this show for fixing, as of right now, our border problems. He shut that down. That was the right thing to do 30 years ago, and politicians have messed the bed on this forever. So thanks for doing that. And I think that's probably, if you asked voters across this country, constituents of this president, which are many, of this country, the great country of the United States, I think they would say that's a good thing. We need to see some results, though, on these tariffs, and probably more specifically, we need to see some results in our investments, 401ks, and savings. All right, we'll close it out today. Don't forget, 2 hours all this week, 9 to 11. Little fun on this Monday.
I suppose you're wondering why I called this meeting.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time.
As you all know by now, we had an excellent